wonder what they're like. From our viewpoint, Professor, they're either suprahuman or subhuman.
Hello out there in the YouTubeverse, it is Max and I am back at you. This time we are doing some Aetherdrift draft. That's what we're doing here. I am here. Sam is hiding in the shadows next to me. She looks like our avatar here on the screen at the moment. So we are going to be doing an event for charity, helping raise some money for a good friend of ours who was in an unfortunate accident. And one of the ways we're going to do that is to play in a charity draft, and therefore I want some practice drafting. And we've played this a little bit. We've done some sealed, we've done a draft, so getting my sea legs with this particular format. We open Mindspring Merfolk, which is decent. Sideswipe's good. Mako is cool, but very build around it. You want to kind of build the cycling deck with the Mako. You get it down and then just start cycling things, which is really fun, but hard to make work. Plow Through is really good. I don't like the roads so much myself. I think a very specific deck wants the roads. It's definitely somewhere in the top row, right? Like, we're not going to really be taking a common here. There's nothing that's stand-outishly good at common, so it's just kind of what do we want to take. The Mako is definitely the most fun. I think the Sideswipe's probably the best. There's the Road and then the Surveyor, which is not like the best card to take. So that will help leave us a little bit more open. Get rewarded here. This particular card, Atchick. Create a green insect creature token for each artifact or creature in your graveyard. Whenever another insect you control dies, put a 1/1 counter. Each opponent then loses a life. Pretty good one. Back on Track, also good with this particular card. Risky Shortcut is solid. Lightning Strike is hard to pass, for sure. So that must have been quite a good common in this pack to pass Lightning Strike. I still see 4 uncommons in the pack, so I would guess that, unless this was a double rare pack, that's possible. It's harder to say now with the play boosters and the allocations. A lot harder than it used to be back in the day. But I think Atchick is a cool build-around card. It's very early, and it goes with our first pick. I don't see any reason to not take it. Very worst case, we don't get to play it, and that's not the worst thing ever. Ketradon in this pack, it's definitely better than these 2 black commons. The Gravestalker is good with this style of deck. You can just cycle the Gravestalker away.
And it's each artifact?
Or creature. So you can cycle this away early and then play this card. So that's pretty good. Obviously, the Ketradon also cycles. So it's really, I think it's between those two. I do like Seat of Arma quite a bit as well. It's a double green card, but it is a blue splash. So if we went like 3-color green, that's totally a plausible thing to be doing. I don't know if we'll be black heavier or green heavier. So like this would pay us off, obviously, for being green heavy. But I think when you go green heavy in this particular set, you don't need it's not a wide token style strategy. I think I'm just going to take the Ketradon. I think in a vacuum, it's a better card. So we'll take it. Yes, paid off. We have a Thundering Broodwagon. That is exactly what we'll be taking here. This card is very, very good. The only card I'm a little sad about passing out of this pack is the Night Market and Jungle Hollow. I didn't even see the Night Market until I was going to say Jungle Hollow. Hull Drifter, solid card. I think that's pretty good as well. The Stingray, or Skyray, excuse me, would have been really cool to go with the Mako in the blue-red cycling deck. Somebody's going to have a good time. I think we're going to have a good time too. It's just a different good time. There's a Nesting Bot here, which is a solid playable for sure. It's in white, unfortunately for us. I do see a Bike, which is a decent enough thing to play. The Omnivore is fine. Like, it's an early play. kind of like the bike here, just in case. It does add mana, and when we're trying to get to 6, the ramp on 3 actually is reasonable. Gains a little bit of life, is a fine enough attacker. Like, it works. It does enough, I think. I'm not, like, excited to play it. Not like this card. Pothole Mole is really, really good. It enters, and we mill 3, and then we can return a land, and then we put all this other good stuff in to hopefully get back. So this is exactly what we want to be doing in this deck. I would take many a Pothole Mole if possible. The Javelinier's okay. The Lagak is okay. The Rat is okay. Push the limit. This card's very fun. So somebody's definitely getting hooked up if they're taking all these cycling cards, which is really cool to see. Could take the Scoured Barrens and speculate on splashing white in our green-black deck. It's not outrageous to do so. I think I'm just going to take the 2-drop. We don't have a 2-drop yet, so I think that is totally plausible. Night Market's going to be really good in this deck. I think it's a pretty easy Night Market here. Rise from the Wreck. Return up to 1 creature card, 1 mount, and up... Oh, no, this is really too good. And up to 1 target creature card with no abilities. So this can get back 3 cards. Creature, a mount, a vehicle, and so I can get up to 4 cards back from the discard.
For 3?
For 3.
Wow.
On average, it'll probably get back 2. But that's why Pothole Mole's so good, right? Like, that's exactly the kind of thing we want to be doing. Here we wield a Jaguar. I think that's totally a serviceable card. I do like the Wreck Remover. It's actually, like, kind of good. It has the little ability to gain life's pretty good. The stats are good enough. That 4 toughness really is kind of the cutoff point for this format. We don't have any 4s or 5s yet. I like that this is an artifact card. I like that it cycles. So I'm going to take that because I like that I can put it into the discard if I need to. Here I'm just going to take the 2-drop, nothing too fancy. Burner Rocket and Interface Ace I think are both quite good for this late. And the Mangler is also quite good. Didn't even notice that. Yeah, all these cards are pretty good. I think we're taking the worst one of the lot by a decent clip. But a creature with no abilities, playing one of these does help add value to our Rise from the Wreck. That is thin, but 2-drops are usually good and limited, so I'm not going to complain too much. It crews decently at 3, so I think it's fine. I think that is what our Broodwagon crews at. Yeah, awesome.
I had 2 of him.
You did have 2. You did have 2 of these in your sealed pool. Card's just very good. Comes in and blows a thing up. It's just hard to argue with. Nothing good for us. I'm going to take the Blossoming Sands in case we end up wanting to play a white card. That's pretty free, I think, out of that. There are some good cards. It's just so far away from playing any of them that I'm not going to bother to take them. Blue and white looking a little open here. I don't feel like we got pinched at all on green. Black felt like it dried up a little bit. This card's okay. The jacket's also pretty good. I think I'll just take this. I'll put it in somewhere, wherever it went.
I think you took the jacket.
No, I have it.
Okay.
We have the doll here.
Oh, that art's creepy.
It is a wretched doll. We have ooze. I'm not a big fan of ooze, though in this deck, it's not bad for each artifact under creature in your graveyard, so this can be kind of big. And it has a base 2/2, so it doesn't just die to its own ability. The Wretched Doll's good. No removal, unfortunately. I've been looking for... My eyes have been peeled for some removal. That's what I really want at this point is interaction. Surveil 1's not bad on a stick. It crews decently. It's a 2-drop. Yeah, I'll take the doll. Might wheel the ooze. Ooh, this card's very, very good. Flying Death Touch. You pay 4 to exhaust it. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal 2 lands. Put those lands onto the battlefield tap and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you put a 1/1 counter on this creature. It's a very, very good card. Pact Altair is also really solid. Not necessarily for us, but is a solid card. Back on Track is kind of what we're looking for. We do want to return things from the graveyard. The Sky Serpent Seeker. It's not Sky Seeker Serpent. Is also a very good consideration with a Dismal Backwater in the pack. I'm not going to force the blue card into the deck when I can just take something good. We have Lord of the Undead, a classic. Do we have zombies? Currently, no. Zombies are predominantly black and white. Exile up to one target artifact or creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control to being extend step 4 damage to each creature. So basically moves your best creature out of the way and then blows up the board. Lord of the Undead, huh? It's good. Do I just take the Ketradon? Could take the Malt Tender. Actually, that's going to be a pretty good take for us. It's an early ramper. Hopefully we can pick up a couple more big things. Not much in this pack for us. I think it's just going to be the Wicker Folk. Night Market isn't bad. Could take the Night Market, help with our mana. That's probably better than a replacement level 1/3. I like the flying because it can obviously, like, I think we have reach on the Ketradon, but we don't have, like, a ton of reach going on. So the air is definitely a place that we can get buried. Well, it's like an exposure point for us. So I want to be aware of it for sure. Got a Scurryfoot here. I think that's good enough. Solid. Little 1/1 that can make a make itself a 2/2 and make a 3/3. It's fine. Gives us something to do early. Gives us something to do in the late game. Though maybe we want the Skybox Fairy just to cycle and get back. It's a tough call. I don't want to glut myself on too much too colorless cycling. So I think I'll just take the other one drop here. The cheap creatures are also really good with the Hellish Sideswipe. Another Broodwagon. That's excellent. We have to pass a Ketradon for it, but for Broodwagon, I will do that. So it looks like the color combination we're in is open. We're getting hooked up now. We got to run over this late. Excellent. I like Fang Guardian a lot as well. His cards looked pretty impressive every time I've seen it played. Run over, though, I can't. I need the interaction. I can't really pass something like that. So we have a 2/2 here. Let's look at the top 3 cards. Reveal a permanent. Put the rest on the bottom. If I put them in the discard, it'd be one thing, but it does not put them in the graveyard. So it's basically, do I want another 2 or do I want this Ooze Patrol? I guess I'll take the Ooze Patrol here. Gives me a little bit of variety. There's another Ooze Patrol. It did, in fact, wheel. We saw that, and we talked about it potentially wheeling. I'm just going to take it here. I don't want to run to Ooze Patrol if I can help it. Wow, the Seeker came back. All that hemming and hawing I did, and we got it back. And I took the Night Market. And we got a Mana Fixer in this pack, so we got really hooked up here. Nothing too good. I'll just take this Roadside Assistance. Jaguar. It's pretty free. Okay. A Fairy. Talked about taking that earlier too. So I think we're in the open lane for sure. Not really getting too hooked up by this particular pack, unfortunately. No common removal. Just not much at all, unfortunately. We have the Gravestalker is about that, and then the Hazard of the Dunes. Just a 4/4 for 4 that can get bigger in the late game, which is nice. I think the Spikeshell Harrier is an excellent card. It's just such a good play. I'm considering taking it and trying to figure out if we have enough fixing to make blue 2 cards that we can splash here. I think I'm going to take it. I think it's just so much more powerful than taking the Gravestalker or the Hazard of the Dunes that I'm just willing to take this card. Bounces a creature, slows them down. It's the only card that slows their speed down, and it looks like a blue leader shell from Mario Kart. Haunted Network is an excellent card. It's another very potentially splashable card. I don't know if we have the artifacts for it. 7 artifacts, not the worst. I think it might be a little pushing it. So let's see what the Fang Druid Summoner does. It's a 2/4 for 4 with reach. When it enters, you may search your library and or graveyard for a creature with no abilities. Put it in your hand. Right now, we don't have many of those, so I don't think that's exactly where we want to be. We could take another Seeker. I don't want to, go too crazy on this blue splash, but, otherwise I'm going to take a Packdoll Terror. Yeah, I'll just take the second Seeker. Really need to prioritize interaction or fixing. Intimidation Tactics is decent. It's an expensive piece of cycling. I think we want the Earth Rumbler. With the style of deck we're building, this just makes itself a creature so much of the time. There is another Night Market, which is really tempting considering what we have here, but I'll take the Earth Rumbler. If I have to cut the splash, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not in love with the concept of doing that, but I would not be the saddest person in the world if we had to make the cut. But you can see, blue's flowing pretty heavily. I'm going to take the point the way. I'm going to probably not play it. but we'll take it just to be safe. Another Rise from the Wreck in this pack. Not a whole lot else. So we'll take. I really would love to take a late Pothole Mole if I could get it. Something that mills me for a little bit. This isn't a bad card. Start your engines. If you get to max speed, you get to draw a card with it. It's good in these style of decks. I just don't know if we have enough in the way of starting our engines to really pay that one off. Not the right color fixer we wanted. We'll take the Pack Doll here. No one seems to be taking it. It is a very strong card. I just don't know if we have enough artifacts to really make it fully functional. But it does really help you get back into a game. Gives you something to do while you're sitting back. Very late Fuel the Flames. We'll just take Hazard of the Dunes here. I think it's better than the second Ripclaw Wrangler. Not much in the way of cards for us. I think it's going to end up drying up pretty good on us here at the very end. But we have 26 cards right now. So it's really not the worst. Like, we can make 3 cuts, which could just be the blue splash, and then we have a functional deck. That's where I'm going to start. As much as I think these blue cards are extremely powerful, I just don't know if I'm confident enough with the fixing we have. Another Pack Doll Terror, though. Where am I at with the final construction here? 7. If I play both and the Pack Doll's in my board, interesting. I'll put it in the... I'll get a second one. There's no reason not to. Nothing too good. Here's another Loxodon. I don't think too much starts our engines in this particular build. Another Omnivore, not the worst possible card to play. We'll really have to look at our... Might not play this Wreck Remover, though it is an artifact if we want to play the Pack Doll Terrors. Okay. I think we got a pretty solid looking deck. My fear is that we don't have enough mill. I may have to play that second Ooze Patrol that's sitting on my board because I just want as much self-mill as possible in this build. And that's probably one of the best ways to get it. So that probably means I don't play the Pack Doll Terror package. I probably want to remove the Wreck Remover. Scrap Compactor is technically removal. It's very clunky removal, but it might be good enough for this particular deck. Put it in the board for now just to kind of feel it out. The bike might be a little weak. I think we have enough other vehicles. We have a ferry, we have an Earth Rumbler, we have a mount there. I don't want to keep that in the deck. And we have 2 Brood Wagons. Not the most, but I think it's good enough to cut the bike. Like, I don't think we need that. 13 creatures, 10 non-creatures. Very little. That's why I was debating on playing the Scrap Compactor. Yeah, surprisingly, we didn't hit a single spin out or anything. We're way more green than we are black. I would definitely go down a black to go up a green. I think that's fine as is, though. I wouldn't push that limit. I think this is what we're going to roll with for now. If we need to revisit, I would definitely consider, like, maybe trying to fit the Pack Doll Terrors in the deck. We have 6 artifacts. They would bring us up to 8, and we could configure the deck in such a way to play, I think, 1 additional artifact. No. I mean, if we splashed the blue, we could, in theory, fit the Harrier, which is a good card. Like I said, I think that card's very above rate. But we'll try it as is. I don't think it's, like, phenomenal or anything in terms of what we're doing. I think, like, we needed a little bit more self-mill than what we saw. I wouldn't have minded one of the pilots that comes back from the discard as well. Would have been kind of nice, but you can't get it all. I think the main thing we're lacking is that interaction. Like, we're really, really soft on removal. We have the Brood Wagons. We have the run over, and we have now the little compactor. We get to go first. We go 1, 2, and then nothing for a little bit, but this does technically ramp if we can mill a card. And the Molt Tender does its own milling as well, so that is worth calling out there. I did not mention that earlier. Okay, they have one as well. Nice. We do have plenty to do. Could have considered running over their Molt Tender. That might be a touch aggressive. I mean, Bolt the Bird is a thing. Midnight Mangler, so we won't really get a good attack in. So let's mill a card. Recursion spell, not the thing you want to be milling over if you can help it. Do we want to run over their Molt Tender? Yeah. I think we'll do it. It's a little sketch, but I think we kind of want to make sure we're doing what we can. If they have a trick here, they really can't use it because they don't have a card yet to exile. We can cycle the Broodwagon. I was like, why is this highlighted? I think we're fine here. We can mill a second card if we need to. I don't really know if we want to go down that road too aggressively, having milled our Recursion immediately. That's a good card. We will Surveil, though, because that's just free to do. We'll keep the removal spell. What do we want to exile here? I guess just the run over. We can't really get that back or interact with it in any meaningful fashion. I don't think it's worth giving up the doll for the Mangler here, when we can just use the doll to saddle if we need to. Wow, they've hit 3 land. Good for them. Are they thinking about attacking for real? I mean, I'll happily double block. Okay. So they can activate 3/5 and like double block. Do I care about that? I would get to take out the one creature. Sure. I guess we'll go ahead and just recast. We didn't hit our land drop, so it's not the worst thing in the world here. It's just a tempo play, but like they're not really ahead of us on board, so it's like kind of an awkward tempo play. Okay, so they're going to bounce the Jaguar again with the Harrier. And you can see now that's an effective tempo play, right? Like they're adding to the board. Now they could crew the 3/5, attack us if they so chose. Which I think they should crew the 3/5 over the 3/3 because it like kind of self-crews. My hope is that we can hit a land drop here. We did not. I think we have to take out the Harrier here. They'll crew in response, and then we're going to just play our 3/2. We just need to set them back as much as we can. But now we're through a lot of our valuable interaction. Again, the Broodwagon, as soon as we hit a land drop, we have it. The question is, do we cycle this Ketradon? This just is such a good get back in the game button. Now that they played Hull Drifter, it feels like we want this more. Because oh no, this does have reach. Card just does everything. I don't love seeing Hull Drifter there. That's one of the cards, like one of the advantages we had is we had a couple more cards in hand than the opponent. Now we're falling behind in a pretty significant way. They get to crew again the 3/5. And we really can't do anything about it. We just kind of get hit for 3 here. So we do need to get something online here. Need the land, basically, is what's hurting us here. A land 2 turns ago would have been just fantastic. Get rid of the side swipe. I think the 3/5 is the correct thing to take out. We could take out the car, but this could get them extra value down the line. Because it's just for exhaust, and green does exhaust, so I think that's totally fine. We do have to hold back because we do need to block. We're on the back foot for sure, so we just need to make sure we're on top of things. Wreck Remover to get our last card out of the graveyard. I do think this card is a little undervalued right now. Every time I've seen it, it's worked really well. Like, it's just such a low cost. Stats are decent. It cycles if you really don't need it. It gives you some incremental advantage life-wise. Just a good card. We don't have anything to use our Mult Tender on. I guess I'll Ooze Patrol if we get, that way if we need to use it. The Wreck Remover can only remove one thing. So we'll get to mill. The Wreck Remover keeps this in check, but they really can't attack with the Wreck Remover at this point, or they risk losing things. That's good enough to crew, so I'll take it. Next turn we can play the Ketradon. Okay, second Hull Drifter. We need to figure out a way to break through the line here. Which we have plenty of big stuff to do. Yes. Okay. That's real bad. That's real bad. Okay. I don't know if we can beat that. With what we have left, the Broodwagon can't hit it. Yep. Yeeks. It's going to be tough. Yeah, missing the land drop for multiple turns just kind of put us in a position where there was not much we could do. So we have a 3-turn clock. We can't really use the Thundering Broodwagon to attack. Well, I guess we could now because we do have reach by way of the Ketradon. So this, gets blocked by a Wreck Remover and a Pothole Mole. And we can only trade for one thing. There's just no way. That attack's so bad. The 5 toughness on the Broodwagon really setting us back from attacking there. But if we get the Jaguar back down, we can start maybe attacking with the Ketradon and then use the Jaguar plus the Broodwagon to attack. So like if they're going to eat up their whole turn to make the Serpent unblockable and just try to close the game out quickly, the good news is they're really not going to be adding too much, you would hope, that's beneficial to their side of the board. Because it's going to take 6 mana to make the Gear Serpent unblockable. So it's going to be tough for them, I think, to do too much. Like they either have to end the game or add to the board to try to overwhelm with value. Because now they have green up, right? Like that's not the most robust selection in terms of mana. Like there might be a trick in there or something. I think we just have to attack. I think the double block's pretty apparent here. It's just going to be Remover plus Mangler. And then from there we just take out the Remover. There's not much we can do there. They don't have counter mana up, so Next turn, we'll just have to, like, saddle plus maybe crew and attack with 2 6/5s while their 5/6 is tapped. But the problem is they're going to draw a card every turn. They're going to find things that are valuable, right? Another Serpent. Found a Surveyor, but they don't have any speed yet, so nothing much they can do. Get Force back. They get to play that, then they spend the rest of their mana to Serpent, which is nice. I mean, they got to add to the board and do the thing, so we just need a good draw here is what we really need on this turn. We need something valuable to add to the board. Down to 8, 2-turn clock. We do have to present something impressive. Yeah, Forest is not that thing. So let's do Ooze Patrol. Crew up there. Saddle. Use this. Maybe we just crack in with all of it. $15 coming in. They don't have a clean block on anything. They can go Pothole Mole plus Mangler on the Broodwagon. That's their best block by a country mile. Then they can't really double block too effectively on the Jaguar. They can just give something up here and then, like, chump the Jaguar potentially. Just taking the Jaguar and trading off a bunch of stuff. I think I will let the Mangler take the brunt of the damage this time. We'll see what we can hit with our Pothole Mole here. I guess we can cycle. No reason not to cycle here. Okay. The negative is we don't have reach. So they can crew a Hull Drifter and come in for... Oh, it's Xaxes, isn't it? If they pay 6. So that's... But I mean, we didn't have the reach until once we gave up the Mangler. So we'll let them see it here. Okay. They're just going to bring in something else that can crew it and then attack. They could technically attack with everything that way. Yeah. Just that, those, I think it was 2 turns where we just whiffed on land. Was just brutal. Not being able to get the... If we had gotten that Ketriodon down on time, we would have been able to pressure the opponent more effectively, and they wouldn't have had time to just do the blue-green thing of just draw infinite resources. We're at 17 land, so I'm not going to say that that was a, like, we should put in another land. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I just think that's the resourcing mechanic in Magic. It's not great. It's not robust. It's just leads to non-games, unfortunately. Sometimes it'd be like that. I think we did what we could with it. I think there was no choice there once the Gear Seeker Serpent came down. But Bob, I love that name. But I think the one inflection point, or like the one decision point that could have set us back the most was early on. I'm looking at my cycling to see if we want to keep this hand. Cycle Ketriodon to try to find a land. If we whiff on drawing it in the first 2 draws of the game, I think we can keep in this case because the hand's mono green otherwise, though it is, albeit quite slow. We could have not gone after their Molt Tender or whatever the card's called, the little mana producer. We could have just left that be and not went after it, and that might have been more correct. We will cycle the Ketriodon here at the end of their turn. Slick Imitator, not a huge clock. Okay, let's go ahead and cycle the Ketriodon. No land there. Give me a land, give me a land. Nope. Okay. Cool, we get to play not Magic again. I mean, that's just Magic. That's just how resourcing works in this game, unfortunately. If they counter our pothole mole, I think we kind of just lose on the spot. Okay. Still no black sources to speak of. We did have a back on track. Okay. I thought we did. I wasn't sure in that last game for recursion purposes. So being able to get back something there would have been really nice. I think we're just going to set up stuff and try to ooze patrol here. That setup stuff being the Earth Rumbler just gives us the most ability to pay for the Earth Rumbler. We hit 2 land. We just bounce off the Slick Imitator, so there's no reason to do that. See, this is the issue we're running into, is we're just giving the opponent so much time. Like, opponent's playing, like, 3 colors, it looks like, minimally. With a colorless land, like, this just isn't good deck building, but we're giving them a ton of time to do whatever they want to do. So, like, that's kind of the issue we're running into. So, 3/4 flyer. I think we're just going to play out another Ooze Patrol, and then I'm debating. So I should have sequenced things a little differently because I should have sideswiped. But maybe not enough of a concern yet. If they want to trade, like double block to trade me Guardian for Ooze Patrol, I'm cool with that. Oh, they just, okay, this must be a newer player. We are in the lower ranks because I haven't drafted on my account in a minute. The reason I selected this particular draft type was just because I wanted to get the maximum amount of games. Like, I wanted to see the most stuff as much as I could see. So that was the goal there. I'm just going to attack here to start, and we'll see what they do. They have 2 1/3s, no point in attacking with the pothole mole. Okay. Do we want to just play the Jaguar? Do we want to play the Earth Rumbler? I guess we can just play the Earth Rumbler here. It's a big 7/6 vigilant trample vehicle. Cruise on 3, so anything but the pothole mole cruise it, and it can crew itself. So we can just keep pressure on. There is the bane of my existence, Gearseeker Serpent. But we have removal for it this time, and we have a 7/6. Opponent's attacking here. That's certainly a choice. They're trying to get to max speed, I guess. Get rid of the little guy here. Yep.
At least the mana didn't matter.
Those Xaxes. No. Definitely missed that land drop, though. Unfortunate, but that, again, that's just Magic be like that. Okay, we get to go first. We have a 2-drop, a 4-drop, 2 cyclers in our hand, and we're all colors. It's fine. The question is, what do we want to cycle? I think on the 3rd turn we likely want to do that. Just going to play out the Legak here. Not a great blocker in the face of the Engine Rat, who is also just a small Death Toucher. What is this thing? You have no maximum hand size. If you would draw a card, draw 2 cards. That is dangerous. Okay. I think we have to cycle the Ketriodon, because we do need to deal with this thing, potentially. This is hilarious. If they have maximum overdrive, we just have to eat it. Like, we can't, like, just can't afford to play around it. If that's all they're doing here, this is good for us. I mean, it's not great because they start their engines, but they can't, theoretically, next turn, do that again, which is nice. And the land there was great. That is exactly what we needed. Five drop. Well, this does have reach, so that's nice. Well, we're going to lose our at-chick, I think. Nope. They're more worried about the Broodwagon, even though we have Rise from the Wreck. That's interesting. Okay. I mean, they gave me the... Like, what's weird about it is, like... 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, like I get these? That's interesting. The way you click for that is weird. Okay, that's fine. I mean, the good thing about getting rid of the diversion unit there and like turning that into pseudo removal was now we don't have to worry about them getting maximum speed. We still have to deal with the O4. Like, that is still a problem. Seven two. Yeah, I think this is a fine enough attack. I think we have exhaust 7, so we're at 6. So if we draw a land, we have something to do. If we don't draw a land, we can play the thingy. So, I mean, I think that's a good spot to be in, to be honest. Well, that's pretty good. Sure. Not much I can do about that. Sure. Again, not much I can do about it. Okay, so we got the 7. Plenty of stuff to do if we can find things to do. Just mono flood the engines. Okay. I mean, I think we have to kind of use the Jaguar as pseudo removal. Oh, geez, the wrappings. That's real good. Don't know if we're going to beat that card. Okay. I just don't... I mean, they're turning their whole graveyard to their hand. I just don't see us beating this, unfortunately. Yep, okay, that would do. Nothing we can do. I mean, they drew a card that's absurd in a long grindy game, and we drew lands. So, again, the resourcing in Magic, like at this point, having moved on to more modern card games, it's really hard to. The hardest part of coming back to revisit Magic, as much as I love the game, is lands are just, they make for such a bad game experience. Like, even streaming, I feel bad, and recording, I feel bad. Like, on the video, you know what I mean? We spent all this time together drafting, and I appreciate you doing that. Watching through the video, and it's like, cool, we flooded. Cool, we got screwed. Like, we lost a game to screw, we lost a game to flood a little bit there. Again, could we have made decisions in there to maximize those things better? Almost assuredly, yes. But you can't say that the game wasn't hindered in a way by the fact the resourcing in Magic is clunky at best. Lead on the Molt Tender. Next turn, probably just play Scurryfoot and Night Market. Yeah, I think that's fair. We'll just play Night Market on black. And we'll just use the Molt Tender to do Molt Tender things. So I think that'll be the best path. Then what do we do on the following turn? We can either... All right, that's going to probably... I mean, we could play both of these. We could play a Doll and an Omnivore. Oh, I forgot to mill, didn't I? That was on me. Complains about mechanics and then fails to do the thing. That's okay. We're not in trouble yet. It just makes for a far less efficient turn if we were to use the mana. The good news is now if we get land screwed, we have the Molt Tender on tap to do that. We still would have. We just, yeah, I've run out of excuses. I like this card. I think it's been quite good. Very Mad Maxian art, too. Okay, let's use our Molt Tender. Hits Pothole Mole. Okay, we did miss a land drop here. I think attacking here, the reason for it is because we want less creatures that can crew that Hull Drifter. It crews on 3, so getting rid of 2... Like, now they can't crew it, right? If they spend the turn playing it, they just simply can't crew it. Do I want to use the Omnivore and Wretched Doll combo? I think so. Since I have the other Omnivore, I'll just get rid of that over the Pothole Mole. So now it's kind of, yeah, it is exactly what we wanted to happen, right? Like now they have a lot of cards, but they don't have a lot to do. Like their choke point now is the fact that they just don't have a lot they can do. Here, let's play Hazard of the Dunes. And Atchik is getting bigger the more we lose. That's rough. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can activate the Scurvy. Like, they don't have good attacks, thankfully, because of Hazard of the Dunes. Just play out the Jaguar. I don't see a reason to not do that here. And they're at 22. There's zero reason to attack with the Omnivore and the Dunes and try to get 3 through or whatever. The problem is we're going to run into the opponent's hand is full. Our hand is very empty. So that's a big piece of resource weight in favor of the opponent. We're ahead on board by a decent clip. The problem is we're checked completely by the Ketradon. So unless we can draw something that opens the game up for us, we're kind of at a stalemate. The Jaguar helps. It really depends on what they do this turn, but the Jaguar is the break card for the board. Because if we draw land, for example, right, we can Jaguar, see what they do, and then we have the option to, so now they can present double blocks by way of Hull Drifter plus. Oh, wow. Okay. So if we draw a land next turn, for example, we can saddle the Jaguar, we can sacrifices a creature or vehicle of their choice. I think we just get rid of the Omnivore here. Just doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah. Okay, so we say, for example, we draw land there. We can saddle, we can exhaust, and then we get to attack. And then blocks become difficult, right? So they can't really crew the Hull Drifter here because we just get to shoot it. So they have to be careful about their blocks. Yeah, that's cool with me. That was the thing that was really holding our board back, so... yeah, sounds good. It just makes things better for Atchik. The more stuff we grind through. And putting the Hull Drifter on, like, can't be crewed duty because of the compactor is a nice piece of pressure. The debate really is the Malt Tender. What should it be doing here? Should it be using its ability to put more things in the yard? Trade at the helm for this thing? Okay. I think this is fine. I think we will do this. Of course. Well, the good news is, choose up to one creature card. Take the Jaguar. Oh wait, cancel. This is so hard to do. Like, it's so click intensive. Pothole Mole, Mount, Vehicle, Creature with no abilities. It's such a tricky card to click through. I think here we probably want a Pothole Mole, because I do want to get to lands, and this helps fill up the graveyard a little bit. Just do... cool. Don't think we can afford to attack. Hazard of the Dunes is going to be tricky to navigate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, they play a Skybox Fairy. That's not the worst. Gonti. Whenever a player passes a spell they don't own, they get a treasure. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller. Okay. So no good attacks for them here, unless they were to attack with both, and they do not. Okay. All right. I think we just get rid of Gonti here. This is just too much of a problematic card. Look at the graveyard here. I have a hellish side swipe. Okay. We do need to figure out something, though, because we are going to get hit with this Hazard of the Dunes. But I just wanted to make sure Gonti was off the board before that happened, because then they could crew the Skybox fair. Oh, my God. Okay. One of the best mythics in the set. Just cannot catch a break tonight. Playing against an opponent with 2 losses and has one of the best cards in the format in their deck. Okay. Yeah, see, like, now imagine they had Gonti out still, and we went from Gonti into that in the curve. Is that a mythic as well? That's a rare. Okay. Like, they would have now gotten a Gonti trigger. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we can't afford to go down that road, and I just don't think what we have. Okay, that helps. This is indestructible, however. So... let's read this. Can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. At the beginning of your first main phase, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it has an odd number of counters, draw 2 cards. So they're going to immediately start by drawing 2 cards with a card that is indestructible. We don't have the -/- card in our deck, so that's the big thing we're lacking is good interaction. I'm just debating on, like, how much pressure should I be applying here. It's like, should I start to just crash into them? Run over the... like, run over the Hazard of the Dunes. Just let them chump block like a 3/3 or something. And then just run it over. And then... I just don't think I can do that. Next turn I have run over plus Jaguar set up. I guess I should have attacked with Hull Drifter was correct. Just to put 3 damage in. I just don't see how we win this game. Like, we need something pretty crazy to happen on our side of the board. And they're just going to flood the engine. Oy vey. Yes. If they have a follow-up here. It's 2 creatures. And they just have that too. Okay. I mean, they're drawing a bunch of extra cards. I just don't... I don't know. I don't see how we get back in this game, to be honest. Our best creature got put in this card, basically. I have to overcommit to attack, and we just have to kill him on the crackback, is all I can think of, truthfully. We've gotten rid of the pressure in the air, so... and there's just not much I can do. Hope that they continue to draw land, but I mean they're drawing. I mean they could mill out maybe. Like, does that have trample? It does. I didn't even realize it. I don't really care. I've lost all fucking hope. This is what it is, I guess. Anytime today, opponent, you have nothing else you need to do. You can exhaust to make the helm bigger. It's like the only thing that really matters. Yeah, this deck, unfortunately, I guess it was just like I suspected, maybe just short on like the pothole moles and stuff. Like we had 2 of the brood wagons. We just never had enough like deck grease, if you will, to really do anything with them. I just don't see how we win. 3, 4, 5, 6. They have exactly enough to make the hazard a 7-7, so they're going to have a 7-7 come in. The 8-8 can't come in. I guess no attacks this turn. And we'll try to just, like, do something. We don't have, like, an overrun effect or anything that really, like, gets them. You know what I mean? And we're obligated to block now. The good news is we can double block it. Depends on how they attack. But they're drawing so many cards. Like, we don't have a way to mill them out or anything like that. So it's like we're just back-footed so far that, like, it just doesn't seem doable, you know? I don't think they're going to be doing that. Exhaustibility. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I guess the rest go on the bottom, so you're not technically milling, but you're thinning your deck out by 2 cards at this juncture. That seems unnecessary, like an unnecessary risk to me. So yeah, it's a little like overly cute, perhaps. Like, what are you drawing? Like, the game's in hand. Like, the only way I could beat you would be like to surprise you with something really bizarre. Not much I can do here.
Why do they attack with their tramplers?
Maybe I should be more aggressive. This can't attack. Maybe I should be. Of course, I hit Rise from Endra. Okay. Yep, okay. I was going to say, maybe I should be more aggressively milling with Molt Tender. That's certainly something I could have probably done here, but every time I've managed to use it, it just bit me in the ass, which is Variance's life, but it is what it is. I'm trying to come away with this with a constructive attitude. I really am not sure where the fault lies. Like, could I have played tighter? Almost assuredly. Like I said, I'm sure I could have at points. I think the deck looked pretty good on paper. I think where we really missed is not having enough of this pothole mole style effect. Like, we had 2 Ooze Patrol and a pothole mole for self-mill. I don't know as though we had enough looks at cards to, like, we just never had the chance to find what we were looking for, right? Like, we had 2 Rise from the Wreck and a Back on Track, and we just, like, never drew them when it was relevant. And, I mean, that's variance. That's going to happen. I just don't know. Like, the At-Chick looked cool but didn't do enough. It just was, like, such an easy-to-deal-with threat for most players to deal with. I think in a grindy game, this is just a difficult deck to win with because you don't have a lot of card draw, and you have to make up for it with that self-mill. But, like, between them, like, we had Molt Tender, Pothole Mole, double Ooze Patrol, and some Cyclers. And I just felt like we'd never had enough at any time to get back the key cards we needed. So maybe, like, Rise from the Wreck's a trap, and you just need, like, a creature that can get something back, like, on its own. I'm not really sure. I know the archetype seems to be quite clunky. I haven't seen it perform well at all from what I viewed of the format, and like, this is a good indicator as to why. It's like, even though it seems like this deck was put together reasonably well, it definitely kind of faltered and floundered. Just doesn't seem like it's there, at least from this particular game. I'm not going to be results oriented and say it's not there. Cards like the Thundering Broodwagon are super powerful. It just seems like in the later game, and maybe that's what we lacked, is we just lacked something more powerful than that. Like, the At-Chick was like our most straight-up powerful card, and it just didn't do enough. Could have been that my style, maybe I played it too passively. I should have been more aggressive with my threats. I should have been more aggressively self-milling to try to find these things. It just feels like you need a permanent that can get things back so that you can use that permanent to create a loop so that you can get things back and value engine a little bit better, because that's really what the format is missing, or what this deck archetype is missing, is some kind of a value engine card. Like, the Rise from the Wreck's cool, it can 4 for 1, but it doesn't do quite enough, I don't think. So that's my takeaway from it. I think that overall the deck was fine, but just underperformed from what it looks like on paper, in my opinion. So I personally would probably stay away from this archetype unless I open something really hyper busted. And that'd be, I think, the key. More interaction and something busted at our top end outside of At-Chick would have been really good to help make the deck really come together and sing a little bit better than it did. But anyway, that will do it. Until next time, cast more spells.